Well, let's get right to the good news that became official within the last week. But you have made the decision to become a GA next year with Lynchburg softball. You were already, I think you told me you were already accepted to a master's program here at school. So could you take me through the procedure and the process of, figuring out, okay, I still want to play, I still want to be here on campus. How do I make that happen?
Yeah, so as soon as the season kind of ended, obviously I had no idea that we were going to be granted the extra year by NCAA. So that was just a blessing in disguise. But before all of this had happened, back in January and February, I actually had applied and gotten into the Masters of Public Health program at Lynchburg, just because my plan in the future is to be a PA, and hopefully at Lynchburg's PA school would be nice. So my plan was to get more experience and take classes and stuff. So that's why I had originally already applied and already set in stone that I was going to do the grad school through Lynchburg. And so that was kind of done deal in February. And then I guess it was into March when we got the call about softball being canceled and things like that. And as soon as I figured out that there was a possibility that I could play next year, I was all over it. Just because, I feel like I'd be crazy to not want to play the game that I love and the sport that I love for another year if they were going to give it to me. So it just so happened that I had planned on going to Lynchburg already, and I was in. So that was already kind of the first step. And then the next step would be figuring out how to get the money to be able to play and do that at the same time. Because if I had just gone to grad school, that'd give me a lot of time with just taking classes because it's a lower caseload. To my understanding so far. So I'd be able to get a job and hopefully work at Central Hospital if I wasn't obviously playing softball. So that was the original plan. But then since I wasn't going to be working, I had to find a way to help my family because my brother is going to college, so he'll be a freshman. And just it's not easy to, I know, have to pay for more years of school than just my 4 that I already had for college. So I tried to find the GA position next. I'm pretty sure I applied to probably everyone that was open. It was probably Kayla Hugate's name popping up everywhere. It's probably very annoying, but I was super set on trying to find any GA job that would let me stay to be able to play softball. And so once I got kind of the call for an interview and then the letter over virtual letter came in, and I was just ecstatic. And so after that, everything kind of fell into place, and I was like, wow, can I actually accept that this is going to happen now? Because there's always that doubt, like, what if this falls through? What if this doesn't work? And so finally I'm at a spot where I can be like, yeah, like I'm definitely coming back next year to play. And so I'm super excited.
Let's move on to fellow Hornets, teammates, seniors from other sports. Have you talked to them at all about their situation or even your situation? How has that conversation gone with those that are still on the fence? We talked to Carol a few weeks ago, and she mentioned that it's just too much on her body. She's because of that, she won't be coming back. But I do know of other athletes in other sports who are really still trying to figure out a way to make it work. Have you had conversations with those? And if you have, how have they gone?
Yeah, I've tried to talk to some just to reach out because they would be the ones the classmates that I went in with. So obviously I've been around them for 4 years. So usually you know them pretty well and you know who would probably try and stay. So I've talked to some, and kind of the biggest conversations that we had with each other was not if we wanted to come back and play, because obviously we all want to come back and be able to play with our teammates and everyone and just play the sport again. But it was more of, one, how to afford it, because that's really difficult. And that's, again, why I had to do the GA position. And then housing was kind of a little bit of an issue that we had to talk through and figure out, because we wanted to be with our teammates, but we also wanted to be in a good location for us to do our sports and things like that. So those are kind of the conversations that we had. But I think it's just difficult for some because you don't want to let go of this sport when you have that chance kind of dangling right in front of you. But if you have other plans, like if you already have a job lined up, or some people are going to grad school somewhere else. And so I think that's the hard part, that you kind of get this little chance of hope, but then you have to kind of knock it down a little bit because it just wasn't meant to be. And so some of us, it has been meant to be, and hopefully it'll be great. But it's unfortunate for some people that they got their senior year taken not on their own terms, and they had the opportunity, but it's just tough to see the opportunity there and not be able to take it. So I think that's the hard part.
Yeah, certainly. Tough to be fully grounded when there's a glimmer of hope there, but also it's good for the rest of us to understand that it's not a guarantee that just because these athletes have an opportunity to come back that they will be able to come back. So I always want to make sure that if we talk to a spring senior that we bring that up, because I have people in my world that aren't as educated on it, and they say, well, it'd be great, everybody's going to come back next year. It's like, no, read the fine print a little bit. Still have to be a full-time student, which means if you've graduated and picked up your degree, well, what other classes do you take unless you're in grad school? So I do appreciate you going through that process for yourself. I'm excited for you. I know that's a big deal, not just for you and your family, but for Lynchburg softball fans who are excited to still have you at shortstop. It'll be great. As we've done with all of our other students on the podcast during the pandemic, I'm interested to know what your classroom looks like now. What the area that you sit down at with a cup of coffee or glass of milk, whatever you do, whatever you prefer in your early morning classes. What's that look like for you now, if you don't mind showing us?
Okay. Well, usually I prefer hot chocolate. I'm not a big coffee person. I don't know. I never really got into it. My mom.
In the morning?
Yeah. Well, yeah, sometimes with like some Cool Whip and marshmallows.
Okay. Well, because look, I am all about the hot chocolate over coffee. I don't drink coffee. People who listened to the podcast last week with Coach Dunn, I'm not a big coffee guy, but hot chocolate in the morning is not really my go-to either.
I mean, sometimes I like it, or I mean, if it's really hot and nice outside, I'll do like sweet tea or lemonade. I tried in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I tried to do it in my room. But I like to be around people all the time. I don't like to be enclosed in my room. So I have no problem if I'm out in here. This is my dining room. So I have no problem being in here. And if people are watching TV in the living room or cooking or anything like that, I don't have a problem being around everyone or kind of being distracted a little bit while I'm doing it. But so this is, here's my little, I don't know if you can see that little thing in the corner right there. That's my super organized right there. That's my little thing with all my schoolwork and stuff. And then I just I have a nice view of the window and outside over there. And yeah, I have my speaker right there. You and I were talking about listening to music earlier. So I listen to music a lot of times, and I just like to be in here. Sometimes when my mom is doing her teaching stuff, I have to go outside because she is so loud. I love her, but she is so loud. But I do love to work on the front porch too. We have a front porch swing, so I love to be outside if it's nice, just to feel the air and the sun on my face. Yeah.
So would you say that for you personally, that this adjustment to how classes have been altered has been an easier transition for you than maybe expected? I
would say easier than expected. I think the hardest part is not getting used to the school aspect per se, because I'm still going to lectures virtually and then doing my same homework that I would do. I think emotionally it's tougher than I thought it would be, just being away from everyone and my friends, and you can stay connected kind of like we're doing on this, but it's not the same, that's for sure. You see kind of like the same 3 people every day in my house, but I mean, I love them. I think the emotional part is the tougher part, but I am glad, however, a positive out of this. My classes for graduate school are going to be online. I signed up for online just because working with the GA schedule in softball, I wanted to be able to give myself a clean slate all day and just do my classes whenever. And so with them being online, I had never taken an online course before. So this kind of prepped me for it in a way, which is kind of nice. So I know what to expect and how things will kind of roll when that time gets here.